Hi, I want to welcome you to this ICM Managed project. Innovative Construction Management is dedicated to your safety. Today, I want to show you some of the most important safety measures you should remember while on the job. This orientation video is not comprehensive. It only covers areas where we typically see the most violations. Your job site supervisor can advise you on other potential safety risks specific to your project. Paying attention now will help prevent accidents and keep you and your fellow workers safe from injury. We'll be covering these 15 categories of safety protocols: OSHA standards, personal protective equipment, excavations, equipment, fall protection, ladders, hazard communication, impalement protection, scaffolds, wire ropes and clips, temporary power and lighting, oxygen acetylene tanks, housekeeping, conduct and harassment, emergency action plan. OSHA standards. The Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, regulates workplace safety. All work on ICM job sites will be completed in strict accordance with all applicable OSHA standards or your company's own job-specific safety plan, also called the JSSP. Defer to whichever is more stringent. Personal protective equipment. ICM requires that you wear a hard hat and high visibility vest at all times everywhere on the job site. Additional required clothing includes long pants, boots, and shirts with a minimum of 4-inch sleeve. Whenever the work deems it necessary, you need to wear safety glasses, face shields, harnesses, and other safety equipment. Excavations. When doing excavating work, trenches and holes that are 4 feet or deeper must have adequate means of egress in no more than 25 feet of travel. Trenches and excavations should have egress access within 25 feet of where employees are working. If a trench or hole is 5 feet or deeper, it must be properly sloped back or shored to prevent cave-in hazards. If a trench or excavation is 5 feet or deeper, a competent person must decide how to protect employees from cave-ins. 4 ways to protect employees are: slope the banks, install a trench shield, install shoring, or provide an engineer's designed job site specific protective system. Equipment. With each new task, make sure you're using the right tool for the job. Cords and power tools must be inspected daily. Extension cords must be 12 gauge or larger. Power tools must be used with the required manufacturer supplied guards in place. You need valid certifications to operate forklifts, boom lifts, scissor lifts, and cranes. While operating them, you must wear a seat belt at all times. When operating equipment with rollover protection structure, or ROPS, a seat belt shall be worn at all times. All equipment must have a fire extinguisher, manufacturer's operator's manual, and backup alarm. When working or walking around equipment that is running, always make eye contact with the operator prior to getting within striking distance of the equipment. There shall be no free rigging on site. An example of free rigging is suspending anything from a fork on a forklift with a cable, strap, or chain. Forklifts are designed to carry loads on the force, not suspended underneath. Fall protection. Anytime there's a fall risk of 6 foot or greater, you must use fall protection. Protection varies depending on each situation. Examples of protection include personal fall arrest systems, or PFAS, guardrails, hole covers, and safety nets. Personal fall arrest systems must be inspected daily and used properly. Anchor points must have a minimum capacity of 5,000 pounds per person and be designed by a qualified person. Holes in a walking surface that are greater than 2 inches in diameter should be covered, secured, and marked as a hole cover. Guardrails should meet the minimum OSHA requirements. The main components are top rail at 42 inches plus or minus 3 inches, mid rail, and toe board. Vertical posts or supports should be no more than 8 feet apart. Ladders. Ladders must be inspected daily and used properly. Never stand on the top 2 rungs of any step ladder. If using an extension ladder, you must ensure that it is secured and extends at least 3 feet above the landing to which you are climbing. Hazard communication. All substances must be listed on a site-specific inventory list. Manufacturer's labels must be intact. Secondary containers must have HMIS labels. A hazard communication program will be available to all employees. Impalement protection. Rebar is the most common example of an impalement risk, and it must be properly capped whenever it creates a hazard. Other risks include conduits like PVC and copper pipes, anchor bolts, dowels, form pins, stakes, and posts. Be aware that any protruding object can present an impalement hazard. Guard all potential impalement hazards. Scaffolds. You should never access a scaffold that has not been inspected by the competent person and green tagged with the current date. Scaffolds must have a fixed ladder or gate for access. Never climb cross braces on a scaffold. No one is permitted to ride a mobile scaffold while it is being moved. If you have any doubts, do not access the scaffold. Wire ropes and clips. When it comes to wire ropes and clips, remember, never saddle a dead horse. This means that the U-bolt of all clips go on the dead end of the rope. Wire ropes and clips cannot be used for fall arrest anchorage unless they are specifically designed by the manufacturer for this purpose or approved by a registered professional engineer. Temporary power and lighting. All work areas require a minimum 5-foot candles of illumination. All temp power must be ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protected. When you are utilizing a generator without GFCI or permanent power, an inline GFCI pigtail cord is required. Oxygen acetylene tanks. To prevent deadly fire hazards, oxygen acetylene tanks must have a flashback arrestor. The tanks must be properly secured in an upright position at all times, whether they are being used or stored. When stored, the 2 tanks must be separated by either 20 feet or by a 5-foot high half-hour fire barrier. Housekeeping. Taking care of equipment and cleaning up after yourself helps prevent slips, trips, and falls. A clean job site is a safe job site. Conduct and harassment. Horseplay and harassment of any kind is prohibited on all ICM job sites. Emergency action plan. The guidelines in this safety orientation video apply to all ICM job sites, but each job site will also have a different, specific emergency action plan. A member of the on-site ICM team on your project will review that site-specific emergency action plan with you. Thank you for your attention today. If you have any questions or concerns, please don't be afraid to raise them with your job site supervisor. And remember, all workers have the authority to stop work in the event of an unsafe condition.